Hello, and welcome to Hey, Hi, Who Are You? With Merike Hess, your host. That's me. And today we're going to have two guests, actually, who are the co-founders of the Fiddlehead Project, a sustainable and fun way to educate your kids at home. So welcome, Mai-Liis Tammemägi Hess and Jessica Parsons. Well, welcome to the show. I'm so happy you guys wanted to be on here, both of you together.
Yeah, it's our first podcast.
Yeah,
Ooh,
so
fun.
exciting.
And yeah, you guys are the first two double guests I've ever had, so that's cool.
Awesome.
Hey, cool.
I guess just to introduce you guys to anyone listening, you guys are the co-founders of the Fiddlehead Project. And when did you guys start that off?
Well, it would have been summer 2019, if I'm right.
2020, no?
Sorry, 2020. Yeah, I'm losing track of time. The
I
days
know.
all blend
What
together.
year is it?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so it was summer 2020. It was towards the end of the summer. And I remember that Mai-Liis and I were on the beach, and we had actually just gone to the Van Gogh exhibit at the
Oh, like the immersive one?
yeah.
Cool.
Was it before we'd gone or after, May?
I think it was after.
Yeah.
We watched the sunset on the beach, I believe.
Yeah, that's
It sounds very romantic.
It does. Like you went on a
Hanging
date.
Like a perfect day.
Yeah.
It was kind of a perfect date. And we just we had this beautiful view of the water, and we just kind of started talking about life. And we just started talking about like, I don't know how we got on the subject, May.
We were just like talking about like, I don't know, like what we're gonna do. You were about to start school again, and I was talking about going back to work, and we were just talking about where we want to go, and we were just like looking around sort of at the beach, and it was just like trashed. There's like garbage everywhere on the beach, and we were really upset because we thought like we're both educators and we work in this like great system, and like how can people still in this day still with like everything we learn about climate change and everything still be littering and all this overproduction and overconsumption, and I don't know, we were just kind of over it, and we just got to talking, and we're like we're just going to start trying to do better and make things better and educate better. And
yeah, and like starting from a young age, like as like the earlier the better to get people to like care about the environment and to like I really like that you guys were like talking about such a depressing topic, but you turned it into like we can do something about it. I like that.
Yeah.
And Mai-Liis has already done that with her children, like from a young age. That's kind of the way that they were raised. At least that's what I saw. And so I've always been inspired by the way that she's raised her own children. And I've tried to kind of integrate that into my teaching as well. I don't have children of my own, but so I think we just realized that we could do this in like an organized way and make it work.
Make it
really cool.
make it accessible for families too, because as a parent, like when you want to do something for your kids, have them like learn something, educate themselves, expand, be creative, all these things you want them to be able to do, but when you go to stores and you look at the packaging that it comes with, like a little yeah, exactly, like a little screw will come in like 3 layers of cellophane, and you're just like, what's the purpose of this? Like even like these like plastic mold templates, yes, I mean they do serve a purpose in some capacities, but not really for all these things that you need. And we can like scale it back and like reuse and upcycle all these things. Like Jess and I have been thrifters forever. Yeah, I know, Merike. I'm using my Merike, just like you.
I have the exact same
I
mug.
know.
I love that.
I know, and like totally like a thrifted mug. Like we upcycle and we thrift all the time. We like it's like as much as it's like great for the environment and we do it to be environmentally responsible, it's like sport a bit. Like we love the challenge of like seeing something, going to the store and being like, we can look at this and we can make something with it.
I think like sustainability and creativity like are so hand in hand, like more than I even really noticed before. Like I think creative people are more likely to be sustainable. Does that make any sense?
Absolutely.
Like, I don't know if that's necessarily a scientific fact. I have not done a study on this, but like it seems like it because you're constantly looking for like a fun new way to do something that makes the world a better place, which is usually somewhat related to sustainability, which I think you guys are totally doing that with the Fiddlehead Project, and I think that is so cool.
I think we got it from our moms, actually, now that I think about that sustainability piece, and then it kind of is so connected with the creativity because and maybe it's an Estonian thing, I don't know,
like an immigrant thing, or like, I don't know.
Yeah, like they were always, I mean, nothing would go to waste. We would save everything, and everything was kind of reused and handed down and repurposed. And my mom was a big sewer, and that was kind of, I think, where my love for the sewing kind of started, and figuring out how to make things better and put patches on things and improve things. And in a way that's being creative, right? Being resourceful and using what you have to kind of rethink it.
Yeah, no, and I love, like you guys are just, well, Mai-Liis, with your kids, you're instilling that in them. And then also, like, Jessica, you were saying you want to instill that in your students. And like that, if they don't have that at home, then you guys are, like, as educators, are kind of the only like missing link there to get to the younger generation to teach them that. Because maybe some parents weren't raised in the same way as we were, so they're not going to pass that on to their kids, but hopefully you guys can. But
even with like art projects, so like I work, my background is art education mostly, and Jess is you're a primary junior teacher, and so with art, you like there's so much waste with paper, and with like the Sharpie doesn't work anymore, so we have to pitch it and get a whole new pack of Sharpies, and it's just like there's a lot of excess and there's a lot of waste, and in trying to find ways of making sure that we can use items that can be repurposed is really, really important, especially in the artistic community, and teaching kids that they don't need to use the whole piece of paper to do one thing. I mean, you don't want to stifle creativity, but you want to also like make them aware, where does that paper come from? How much of it do you need? Could you use scratch paper for this? Could you use something else? Like not training them, but just giving them the opportunity to like sort of like shift their perspective on where they need that source to put that creative piece to work is really important.
I think that almost puts them, like, makes them have to be more creative, like we were saying before, where like if you don't let them use all these expensive like art materials, well then like now what do you create out of? Like that's a way more interesting, that might actually come up with way more interesting outputs in the end, I think, anyway. Like if you have to create a statue out of garbage you picked up off the beach, I mean, that's probably going to turn out really cool and very unique. Like I think that'd be cool.
And the lockdown has actually kind of helped in that sense, because I still try to do projects with my students online. And we just finished a science project where they had to create 2 body systems, and a 3D model, and show how these systems work together. And I kind of told them, like, guys, it's lockdown. You're not going to Michael's. You're not going to, like, you got to figure this out. Like, go around your house,
find what you got,
and run with it. And I do that with other projects too at school, and they love it. And it does, like, they're surprised in themselves of what they can come up with. And one kid ended up making his own, like, makeshift paper mache with, like, toilet paper, and I mean, created like the whole digestive system. And
that's so cool.
Super cool. And then they get excited about it, and they're more likely to look for that in the future rather than default to the purchasing of crazy wasteful kits.
No, totally. I wanted to bring up that you guys just started your online store, right? That was pretty recent, in the last month or two.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's a lot of work. How long did that take you guys to set that up?
I don't know, Jess, like a couple months.
I don't know. Well, it's kind of been a slow process, because we started with the website, and then like slowly we just kept adding little parts to it, and the bio, and our kits we got online, and then the Instagram came. It's like, it's all super new for us, but I would say like 6 months.
Nice. Yeah, well, I mean, and you guys obviously both have jobs, and like Mai-Liis with your kids and the pandemic, like that's a lot to process all at once. But have you noticed that like you are gaining traction during the pandemic because everyone is stuck at home and kind of more interested in this sort of thing? Has that been happening?
Yeah, definitely. We're getting interest, and people are definitely like interested in what we're posting about and what we're talking about. I think that there's still a bit of a resistance from the greater population, let's just say, to buying something used. I think there's stigma that comes with thrifting, unfortunately, still, and we need to sort of break down a little bit of the stigma that comes with thrifting, because it's so, or upcycling. Sorry, I should use the term upcycling, because really what we're doing is upcycling these products. And it seems like we really need to figure out a way to sort of shift perspective and then understand that with that shift, we can do so much and be sustainable still, instead of buying new and just going for the shiny new thing all the time. So we are, but I think that there's a bit of work to do still.
Yeah, well, I guess with your like you said, you kind of have to educate before people are willing to buy from you, because they might see that, oh, like these people made their own kits at home. Well, like that's not, this sounds mean, but like this is just what someone might think, like, oh, like it's not worth my money because they made it at home alone, you know? Like
Absolutely.
that's not a product I want to spend my money on. But it's like, but so you are willing to spend your money for some like, and give money to a big corporation and like a bunch of waste? Like, why is that somehow better? Like, yeah, like I think educating that your product isn't somehow lesser than because it's upcycled, it actually might be greater than in certain ways. So yeah, I think that is a hump you kind of have to get over. But
Yeah, and I think with with the products that we're selling too, some of the products you absolutely can get in your house. And the idea is that we're not necessarily trying to like sort of like be consumeristic in the sense that we just like want to like produce a product and sell it and have that be done with it. We'll actually know, like, we want somebody to take the kit home and look at it and be actually say, I do have these things in my house, I can actually do this again. Or actually all of our lesson plans that come in the kits are on postcards. So the idea is afterwards, whoever gets it, likes it, they can actually mail it to a friend, and the
oh,
friend can go to their house and actually use up the materials they probably can find in their home to do the STEM art or taught lesson.
I love that. Yeah,
Yeah,
like keep paying it forward. Like it doesn't matter if like only one person bought the original kit, but it
yeah,
keeps spreading. Yeah, no, I love that. That's
yeah.
awesome. Oh yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. That's sweet. Actually, kind of makes me think of, have you guys heard of the Pine Project in Toronto?
So my kids are participants in the Pine
Oh,
Project.
nice.
Yeah, so my kids have started the Pine Project in September, actually. Both Leo and, or sorry, I guess, should I say their names? I mean,
I mean,
you know.
it's not
So, yeah, so
mean.
Leo and Mia both participated in Pine Project this year in September, and it was really, it's really wonderful. It's an incredible program, and it's a really, really wonderful resource to have in the city. And they do great work. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, they've not been in Pine Project since December.
Yeah. Oh, that sucks. But I feel like you guys, I mean, as you kind of keep building the Fiddlehead project, I feel like you guys could almost partner with the Pine Project maybe in some way. Like you have a very similar mission. I feel like getting kids outside and like sustainability and like
Yeah.
reusing and DIY and all that. Like I think if, yeah, you guys could partner up somehow. I mean, I don't know what the Pine Project's up to right now, but
They're actually doing a really great job, I have to say, of sending weekly or bi-weekly activities for the kids to do still,
oh,
like on their own outside, engaging with nature still. So they are still definitely making sure they're connecting with their population, which is great.
that's awesome. Yeah, keep the fire alive while we're all separate in our own houses.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because even though we're obviously not like able to like get out there and network or go to these, like we're really interested in long term doing outdoor workshops with kids, like teaching them about how to like engage with nature, but also like be able to turn nature into like projects like STEM and art and whatnot. So long term, we are looking to make sure that we can work outside with kids and access and projects and whatnot.
Mhm.
But in the meantime, and obviously that comes with networking, but in the meantime, Instagram's actually been a really beautiful network for us, and we've made some
Yeah.
connections, really interesting connections with other people doing other really great things right now. So I don't know, Jess, it's been really interesting. We've had a lot of little connections, especially even you, Merike. Like this has been so exciting to talk on a platform. You're doing something really cool and we're doing something really cool, and we get to both like experience it together. So even though
Yeah.
the pandemic has sort of like made things separate, we're definitely connecting with people with the same mindset as us right now.
Yeah, Instagram is like magical in that way. Sorry, I think Jess, you were gonna say something.
No, I think that's one of those weird blessings of the pandemic, is just that these small business owners have really kind of worked to band together and make connections and collaborate. And yeah.
Yeah, again, kind of back like what we were saying before, when you don't have when certain things are taken away, you get more creative with what you do have. Like we can't network in person, but now everyone's getting so creative with all their digital like online events and all these weird like people mailing each other like shared kits and things, and like a lot of clothing swaps I've seen are like weirdly getting really popular right now because
Oh, that's
everyone's
so
like, we
interesting.
can't go shopping, so let's clothing swap and like mail each other little presents of like
Oh, that's so
scarves
cool.
and stuff. And like I yeah, I love humans are cool in that way. Like we're all sad, but then we're like, but we're gonna make it good.
Yeah.
But we kind of jumped straight in, and
Sorry, Merike.
I was gonna say we jumped past the point of sort of you guys' personal histories. Like you guys said, I know you guys are both teachers and stuff, but Mai-Liis, you went to school for art or for education or both, I guess. I'm not
Both,
sure.
yeah. So I have a bachelor's of fine arts and I have a bachelor's of education.
Cool.
So I did my bachelor's of fine arts at Concordia, who I lived with Jess during that time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we lived together in university as well. We've grown up our whole lives together. We really haven't met separate unless we were overseas, and that was different times. But yeah, so yeah, and then I did my bachelor's of education at Brock University in St. Catharines.
Oh, nice. And what did you do, Jess?
I took a Bachelor of Arts in Montreal, majored in sociology, and had no real idea of what I wanted to do with it when I graduated. So I took off and I went to Asia for a few years and I taught English there.
Whoa, cool. Where?
In Seoul.
Oh, wow. That's so cool. I've never been there. Love to.
I have a soft spot for it now. It's like such an incredible place. I loved how there was this this meeting place between like tradition and like embracing technology, and it's just such a fast moving country. And yeah, it was a great experience, but I guess so teaching kind of just found me. I didn't have these like dreams as a child, like I wanted to be a teacher, but I loved it, and then I came back and got my teaching degree at Trent in Peterborough.
Nice. Oh, that's a beautiful school. I love it.
It was lovely. It was really nice. It was a nice change from like Montreal, where there was like 30,000 students on campus, to having my cohort of like 20 students and really getting to know them and my teachers. So it was great.
Cool.
And then I went to Sweden because I just couldn't find a job, I guess, working. There's like a surplus.
Oh, wow.
And,
that's why I said overseas time. It's two places.
Yeah, and that was beautiful too. And I was a science teacher and a math teacher at an international English school there. So
wow. Well, your students are so lucky. I feel like they're getting like such a cool world experience from you. That's really cool.
Yeah, it definitely added to my own ideas of, what a successful classroom looks like, because like Korea and Sweden are completely diametrically opposed in terms of like the way their education systems are set up. Like Korea is very kind of one direction and kind of stifled, and there's not a lot of encouragement of like creative thinking. And then Sweden is kind of the other end of the spectrum, where it's very student-centered, and students really actually, in Sweden, they like wanted a say in everything that we did, which was great. So it was
cool.
So and
then you got to like use those two polar opposites to like inform what like middle ground you wanted to create in your own classroom, sort of.
Yeah, and I figured kind of what I thought was coming back to Canada, what was missing, and using my experience to help me figure out my own ideas for my own classroom. So yeah, that's kind of been my journey. And then I came back and I've been teaching in a Toronto school board ever since.
Nice. That's like, so wait, just as a future plans of the Fiddlehead Project, is the goal for it to always be like a side hustle, just as like a passion project, or is the goal that like you guys are gonna go places with the Fiddlehead Project? Is that the goal?
We want to go places.
Oh yeah.
We want to go places. We definitely see this as being like there being long-term goals with this project. I mean, we're definitely hoping to we've partnered with some companies, and we're hoping to partner with more to get their like companies that have like waste or excess that we can upcycle into kits. And we've partnered with some. We've got like fabric, and we've gotten like offcuts of like framing boards and like things like that. Like we've gotten a couple things and a couple people that are supplying to us, but we hope to like educate. We actually hope to sort of that we don't have to make these kits anymore, that like people can do this, and we can sort of shift and pivot the idea of what the project is going to be, and we're going to grow and be organic about it. But it's like a movement. Like we want to make sure that we're creating and educating and inspiring kids and generations to to be better and be creative and be able to look at things differently, right? I don't know, Jess.
Themselves at home, yeah, like without having to buy, because like, yeah, them buying your waste sort of like that works, but that isn't exactly what you guys are trying to get at. You're trying to get at use your own waste in your own home and like create a closed loop, like make sure that everyone's using their own waste, not buying each other's waste. I mean, I guess that still works, but
yeah, like long term, we definitely will like eventually we hope that people don't waste as much, or at all. Like the idea is to reduce first, right? So you don't like that's the first impact. So, but we still like the project will always grow and adapt and pivot, but we hope long term that this is what we want to be doing.
You're gonna grow old together doing the Fiddlehead Project.
We're growing old together no matter what. Because we're in each other's lives. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. I feel like, yeah, like maybe what you were saying when how you want to reduce first, like maybe when people start looking around them at what they can reuse their waste with, they'll start thinking, oh, if I buy this with lots of packaging around it and I don't know what I can reuse this packaging for, maybe they'll take a second look at buying that in the first place, because they'll be like, I can't use this bubble wrap for anything, so maybe I shouldn't buy this thing that has all this bubble wrap around it, you know? I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, we definitely don't want to like make people like feel poorly about themselves or like they bought this or like, that, but it's just about shifting perspective and educating and
inspiring.
Yeah.
Some of the greatest projects and I guess ideas that your kids may and you have come up with actually come from those very boxes and bubble wrap and everything that like that's so it's just getting kids to rethink the way they're seeing waste or junk.
By long term, we'd love to have like workshops where we can have kids come and like we bring like the materials or whatnot, or we go find the materials and we build things. So like we are still working within these educational parameters and upcycling.
Yeah. This randomly just made me think of my best friend. Her mom is a florist. So she buys flowers and all this stuff, but like a lot of the things that she puts in her like real flower arrangement that she sells are like foraged. Like she'll just go out in the forest and like forage random twigs and things, and then she'll make beautiful arrangements out of these twigs, and she's made chandeliers out of the twigs. And I remember being like 12 years old with my best friend, and we were just like trudging through like a marsh looking for twigs for her mom's like weird chandelier project. And like that inspired me, and like that wasn't even my mom, but like I love like community things like that where you kind of experience someone else's like home life. And that wasn't really like, we were like that a little bit in my house, but not quite to that degree. And experiencing someone else's outlook on life, like my mom's best friend was just so gung-ho about using anything you can find and get creative with any random garbage. And I like that stuck with me still now, like 10, 12.
Did that help inform the flower crown?
I'm wearing a clip I made.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. She's actually the one who taught me how to make like official flower crowns. Like she was the one, like Bella's mom was the one who taught me to make flowers.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but
no,
yeah.
but I understand what you're saying, because we as like the next generation, or I guess the previous generation, we model behavior. So being educators, a lot about what we do and what we teach is modeling behavior. So even when I was teaching art classes pre-pandemic, after I'd teach the lesson, I'd actually often sit down and do the activity with the kids, because that's also, they're seeing you do it, like they're understanding you do it. And that's the same thing with like the upcycling or going foraging with the like seeing that woman forage and not wasting anything. Like we're modeling the behavior, and kids see everything and they hear everything and they internalize these things and they understand. So I like, even me, Alina, like when we do still get packages in our house, we absolutely receive boxes. And my kids are like amped for when they come though, because they're like, what did you get? Look at this. And like me, Alina, literally like one day I got a package and I have no idea what was in it. It was in this plastic, God knows what. And I was like, I don't like, what is this? I don't know why it came with this. And Yelena's like, can I have that? And I was like, sure. And so she actually took it and she turned it into like a folder on her wall above her desk.
Aww.
And she stuck all of her art clippings and like extra scrap art paper in it and put it on her wall. And I had no idea what she was doing with it. And then I just saw it in her room one day and I was like, she gets it.
Yeah,
Yay.
you didn't even have to tell her to do it. She sees you doing things like that, and she was like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it myself. That's so cute.
exactly. So
That actually kind of weirdly reminds me of when I was a little kid. I had this little desk area. It was like a little nook. It was like my favorite place. You know, when you're a little kid and you need like your own little space and you're like
yeah.
obsessed with it. I remember the one day my mom walks in and she's like, "What do you have there?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And I like she points out on the wall. I'd apparently found a bunch of pads like sanitary pads, and I like loved that they were sticky on the back, so I thought they were stickers. So I
Oh,
stuck a bunch on the wall and I drew on them with crayon, and I was like, "It's art, isn't it beautiful?" And she
so
was like,
creative, Merike.
she was like, "That's not what those are." And I was like, "Oh." I was like, "I don't know." I was like 5.
That's great. You saw something and you made something of it. I love it. Good for you.
Guess I wasted the pads for what they actually were for, but like I used them for
Hey,
a different purpose.
you were creative. That's okay.
So fun. I don't know if you guys are comfortable talking about like mental health at all, but what a big thing I want to talk about on this podcast is just, especially because we're in the pandemic again, like mental health has just become an even more like come even more to the forefront with everyone, and like maybe with your students or yourselves, or being like a mom at home. Like, I don't know, do you have any thoughts or tools to share with people on that front?
Well, I think for me, I have, in terms of my students, when the pandemic hit, we weren't really encouraged, actually. My principal actually made it clear, like, please don't talk about what's going on, which was kind of hard for me to take, but I had to abide by, I guess, that expectation. And that was kind of tough because it was like this big elephant in the room, and all of my kids were, pushed online, and everything was new and different. And I'm sure they were experiencing like a whole bunch of emotions, but we weren't really talking about it. And then I guess as it became our reality, it became more of, I guess it became more normal to talk about. And so I would just we had like in September, we did 21 days of mental health, and that's just kind of continued. I think that was a board initiative that all the students started with in September. And it was just little activities like checking in and helping them um, express themselves, name their emotions. We even read a storybook called Don't Stand So Close to Me. It was a novel, but it was actually written about the exact experiences that students were going through. And so that was a great, we use that as to bring out talking points about the experiences that they were having. And yeah, I don't know, mental health, I guess it's just taken almost like the front seat, almost for me, before.
Yeah,
Like, it's more important than actually the teaching now, because kids can't, students can't learn unless they feel safe and, comfortable. And that's like, so we spend every day, our first 20-25 minutes is always just like our talking point. We have mindful Mondays, think
aw,
outside the box Tuesday, like all of these things that just to try to get them to connect and relate and express themselves is like so
yeah. Well,
important.
especially with like you're teaching quite young kids, right? Like kids under 12, like.
Yeah, they're 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that's an even I feel like mental health with little kids like that, like you said, they don't really know how to name their emotions, and maybe they don't fully understand why they're not seeing all their friends, and maybe they're really frustrated but they don't know why. And like, I mean, even I feel that way. Like I'm like, why am I angry today? Um it's like, yeah, it's like I don't understand why I'm like so frustrated with everyone. And I feel like little kids must feel that way too, like on Zoom trying to learn, and they're like
Yeah,
getting antsy or whatever. Yeah, and like just checking in with them, and like we said before, maybe their parents at home aren't able to check in with them. So then you're kind of that connection
exactly.
point, which is nice.
And just getting them to, just like for adults too, it's been super helpful for me to talk and connect with people that are going through, like, we're all going through stuff, but just having that, knowing that people are also feeling the way that I'm feeling, just kind of really takes that weight off a little bit.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, like
We
commiserating.
Yeah.
we also like we also practice a lot of gratitude too. Jess and I both do this, but we, with our kids, we also practice gratitude, and Jess connected with this group. Jess, I forget the name of the group. I feel really bad now.
Yeah, no, Grateful Peoples. They're a really awesome organization based out of the States, and they provide free gratitude journals for classrooms and for schools.
That's so
So
cool.
I connected with him, and I got I purchased, or I had to pay for shipping, but I purchased like a few hundred of them, and gave some to Mai-Liis, and it's been amazing watching her kids complete them, like so young.
Yeah.
And still, like, just like anything else, it's something that we modeled for them, and they're like off doing it on their own. It's great.
That's so awesome.
Just like a practice part of our everyday routine. And at the end of the day, we grab our gratitude journals and we write in them. And the thing about it is like, it's as much as like we're practicing gratitude, and like Leo's too young to write his own, but Alina can like write hers in her journal, like show it's like a picture, and I'm grateful for, and then you write what you're grateful for. And Leo will draw a picture and then we'll write it for him. But it's also like, it's actually like practicing writing.
Yeah.
The date. So like you weave lessons into these things as much as like we are also practicing the act of gratitude, which is just making us be better humans, but it's actually just also helping teach them. So I mean, the education can be woven into any aspect of the day pretty much.
Mm-hmm. And like you said with adults too, like that's something that adults can learn too. Like I don't do that, and I definitely should, and that would be a good thing to learn. Like I feel like everyone is just trying to like use this time to like become better humans, like you said, but then it's just kind of overwhelming. But
we're not superhuman people over here. We definitely have terrible days. Jess has seen me in some really, really bad moments, and it's really hard. And like we have to forgive ourselves for giving kids extra screen time, or staying up a bit late, or giving them like garbage food for breakfast. Like we can't be perfect people all the time.
Yeah.
And like something we like to remind, like I like to remind my kids, is like we don't strive for perfection. I actually really hate using the word in the house, and I avoid it at all costs. And even when I hear teachers say, "Oh, that was perfect," I'm like, don't say that.
Yeah.
Because that's not what we're working for. We're working for progress, and we're working to look just to like be a bit better and just have improvement and learn and grow and teach. That's just what we're looking for. We're not looking to be perfect. So if we look for perfection, then we're never gonna
be happy. Yeah, totally. I mean, that's how I feel with this podcast. It is not perfect, but here we are.
This is fun. I'm having a good time.
Okay, good. Well, yeah, I haven't talked to you, Mai-Liis, in like forever, and then I have never met you, Jess. So, hello.
Yeah.
My Zoom is letting me know that we are running out of time because I haven't paid for an official Zoom membership. But before we go, because I think we have covered most of the things I did want to cover, where can people find you? I already know where to find you, but so that people listening can figure out where to find the Fiddlehead Project, can you guys plug yourselves?
You can find us on the web at fiddleheadproject.com. And we're on Instagram
at the Fiddlehead Project. Out there, we're on the web. We're at it's like the Fiddlehead Project is our tag for pretty much everything we use. We have a YouTube page also where we upload some sort of ideas that we have, like for upcycling activities with kids. We also have a Pinterest page which just has ideas for extra activities that you can do with kids, or ways that you can upcycle things in your house, or just ways to sort of like waste less.
Nice. Yeah, Pinterest is a perfect Fiddlehead Project place. Like Pinterest is for me, the original DIY place. Like,
totally.
Make anything and everything out of popsicle sticks.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for being on here. I would love to have you guys on again, maybe in a couple of months, and we can update what's going on with the Fiddlehead Project. Maybe there'll be some new cool updates we can share about, and hopefully maybe we'll not be in the pandemic anymore, maybe. But wishful thinking, I guess.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. I would love that. Thank you so much for having us.
Yes. Yeah, this is super fun, Merike. This is so fun. I can't wait to hear all the podcasts that you do with everybody, because I've been listening to them and they're really interesting.
Oh, yay. Well, yeah. And you guys are very different, perspective from the people I've so far had on. So this is perfect. I'm rounding out my guests with you guys. Well, thank you so much again. And I guess, have a happy rest of your Saturday, and good luck with everything.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll talk soon.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Bye. Bye.
Make sure to follow on Instagram and TikTok at heyhiwhoareyou.pod to stay up to date on new guests and new episodes.